This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
7.41 million viewers turned into the Raw after WrestleMania. This historical Raw is also the first one without Nitro since 95. It draws a 5.67 rating. It's up against the Duke Arizona National Championship game that drew a 15.6 rating. But this is the most amount of people that have ever watched a show on TNN in the history of the network. Woo! Boy, this was the best of times right here, was it not?
Yeah, man. Well, like it was like the first week that AEW went unopposed on Wednesday night. We popped a big number.
Yeah.
And the same thing here. We were unopposed coming off WrestleMania. So we celebrate, as we should have, our 1.2 million viewers. And we're very proud of that number, and it's a healthy number. It's the second most watched cable show of the night, of any show on cable. But you just named the number. 7.41 million viewers.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's just, so that's how good it was. As much as WWE celebrated how much the NXT show did, unopposed, how well we did on Wednesday, unopposed, and those numbers were great. They rank well, as we said. But this showed 7.41 million viewers. That's healthy.
It's a different time where Raw after WrestleMania wasn't hijacked. In more recent years, the Raw after WrestleMania, you had all these fans from all over the world, not just the country, but all over Europe and Australia and everywhere in between. And they had their favorites and they were ready to chant and sing, and it was a good time. But this is more of a normal show, but it's a little weird in that now Austin's a bad guy, and we haven't seen that in years at this point. But he doesn't get the big heel reaction because nobody really wants to boo him.
No. Well, he didn't get over as a heel. And you're right. It's simple as that. The fans rejected that piece of creative. Their love for Austin that was deep rooted was much stronger than what he did with Rock and McMahon and the Astrodome. Austin was truly the most over guy I can remember seeing in my career as a babyface. And I'm not, well, he's knocking this guy, he's knocking that guy. I can't mention everybody. I can't mention all your goddamn heroes. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not knocking Hulk Hogan. He was over. He pulled the wagon. He pushed the thing out and got it rolling. But Austin was the most over babyface. And I did a lot of studies on merch sales when I was in that office. He was selling merchandise that was unprecedented of any era by any talent. And one reason was because of that was that he designed most of his own T-shirts, and he had a new product coming out all the time.
Right.
He was a marketer. It's much like your ad-free network. The ad-free network's growth is exponential. And one of the reasons it's so popular is because of the diverse amount of programming that you and your people continue to add to it. So, but Steve, that thing just, they thought it was, I think some people thought, well, maybe it's just a phase. And we did everything we could to, as we will talk about here, to get him established as a heel. But I told him this before, and it's an old story. Nobody wants to see John Wayne as a Nazi.
That's right.
He got over in this role, and let's just leave it at that. But we were, Steve wanted to change. He felt like here's what I think in hindsight. I think he realized his list of adversaries was running thin. And so let's change. Let's get ahead of the curve.
Yep.
Make me a villain so I can work with a bunch of different baby faces. But, we didn't have the baby faces on that side really we didn't have a baby face over so strong that they would prefer to see that baby face win over heel Austin.
It almost feels like it was a checkers move rather than a chess move. You're thinking about one move ahead, which is, hey man, I don't have a bunch of heels. Well, I'll just switch the other side. Maybe I'll just fight the baby faces. But there's not a huge list there either. I just don't know that we got that far down. But he had a hell of a baby face that night, the night after WrestleMania. It's Rock and Austin in a cage match, a rematch for the world title. That leads to Triple H coming out and helping Austin retain, and they just beat the shit out of The Rock. So now you've got the two biggest heels put together with Vince, and there's no baby faces. As that show comes to a close, that very first Raw after WrestleMania, do you remember yourself or Austin or Vince or anyone saying, "Oh shit, what now?"
Yeah, I remember saying we got work to do.
Yeah.
You know, we for whatever reason, perhaps it would fit in the category of overthinking something. Maybe. We devalued how over we all got Stone Cold and how over Stone Cold got himself over. But it was a team effort. All the graphics, the merchandise, the whole package was very Austin oriented in our company at that time. So, and I think did we just forget this shit? You know, they love this guy. So, you know, and so the old deal was maybe we got to take a step or two back and get some heels on a roll. See who gets over the quickest, the best. And then match that person or people up with Steve. But there was no patience. And it's not unlike, you know, Vince and his dad, even before him, especially his dad, they had a heel factory.
Right.
Because they had a babyface territory. I'm sure you've heard Bruce talk about this babyface territory at WWE. And people say, well, how do you determine that? Well, you determine that by the fact that go all the way back to Bruno, and he's a champion for 9 years. Skip forward a little bit, and you got Bobby Backlund, who was a champion for 5 or 6 years, whatever it was. Somebody's going to say, well, JR, it wasn't 5 or 6 years. It was 413 days and 12 hours. To that, I say to you, Mr. Critic, kiss my Oklahoma ass. Come on. Long time. Bret Hart, great babyface, great champion. Randy Savage, babyface, champion. And I know they had some heel runs, but basically speaking, the WWF was a babyface territory. And we broke that chain trying to do something different. And that's been a big fault of a lot of promoters over the years is the ones we talk about the territories. Got good feedback too that we talked about the territories and why they went out of business. You know, you got to change things. You got to change things up, but you don't blow up your basic formula, good versus evil. Leave that alone. But recast your good and recast your evil and make sure that the evil guys have got a chance to beat the good guys. If you have those odds are in the villain's favor, they got a shot. This is a bad dude. I don't know if Stone Cold can handle this guy. He's a different breed of cat, blah, blah, blah. Now I got something, a story to tell. But we didn't take the patience or the time to do that. And I think we just we overshot how over Steve was. I mean, he was undershot how over he was.
Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com. At the next SmackDown, we see Undertaker and Kane beat Edge and Christian to become tag champs, and then Triple H and Austin would destroy Kane outside the ring, but Taker is still able to defeat Edge and Christian to win the tag titles. So now we've got a pay-per-view set. It's going to be the brothers, Kane and Taker, against Triple H and Austin. We're now just a few weeks removed from WCW shutting down. As a reminder, that show, the very last Nitro, got a 2.6 rating. So between Raw and Nitro that night, it means 8.5 million people were watching the Monday Night War. Do you think Vince's expectation was all 8.5 are going to switch the channel and come over? Or do you subscribe to the Eric Bischoff theory that there is some duplication in that number with fans being counted twice?
As absolutely duplication. I agree with Eric. And Vince is not unlike any other promoter. You want the biggest slice of the pie as you can get. And so you're just hopeful that you get whatever's there. But it's almost unrealistic to think that the audiences are going to automatically transfer, quite frankly.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.